I went into my daughter's room tonight just to kiss her goodnight, and I walked out realizing I had just corrected something in her that I had to stand up and correct in myself earlier that same day.
This is practically mindful shit. Loving myself while I'm losing it. Listen on, listen on.
So tonight I went into her room, like I always do, to kiss her goodnight, say I love you. That's it. That's how it started. And somehow that turned into a conversation about her car, the payment, money, finances, responsibility, that conversation. And I'm talking to her, but I'm also watching her because I do that. I pay attention. And while I'm speaking, I keep noticing something. Her head, it's down. And I've seen it before. And I've said something about it before, but just in passing, not like this. And I didn't plan it. But in that moment, something in me said, no. So I stopped and I told her, when you put your head down like that, it's like you're cowering. It's like you're giving somebody else reverence that they didn't ask for. And you're shrinking. So I got up, went over to the wall, and I showed her, this is me, head up. And this is you. I dropped my head. You see that? You just made yourself smaller. And I don't want that for you. And then the conversation shifted again because earlier her dad had sent a text. Do you hear your mom fussing at her boss? So I paused right there and I said, let me explain that to you. I wasn't fussing. I was standing up for myself. And I told her I was hurt. And yeah, my voice was louder than it needed to be. But that doesn't make it wrong. And then I said, and also, I don't have a boss. I have a manager. I understand authority. I respect authority. But she's not the boss of me. And I told her, just like nobody is the boss of you. Only you are the boss of you. And somewhere in that moment, I said it out loud. This is me mothering you as a young adult. I said it because I felt it. This wasn't just a conversation anymore. Something had shifted. And then as I was leaving, I said, and pick your damn head up. And we both smiled and we said our I love yous like we always do. Here's what people miss. Same words, completely different impact, depending on the foundation. Because in my house, there's already safety, love, mutual respect, emotional honesty. So when I'm firm, she doesn't feel cut down. She feels called up. And that's the difference. Because what I modeled in that moment was this. We can have real conversations. We can correct things. We can challenge each other. And love never leaves the room. That's how you raise someone who doesn't fear hard conversations, who doesn't confuse correction with rejection, and who doesn't collapse when they're confronted. That's not control. That's capacity. And in that moment, I realized something else. I wasn't just talking to her. I was initiating a new phase of our relationship. Not mother and child, but woman being guided by a woman who's lived a little longer. Because earlier that day, I had to stand up for myself at work. I had to advocate for myself, speak even though I was hurt, correct how I was being perceived. And I brought that into the conversation because what she saw wasn't me fussing. It was me standing. And that's when it hit me. What I was asking her to do, I am actively learning how to do myself. So when I said don't shrink, that wasn't just instruction. That was something I had to fight to learn. And tonight, I passed it down. And that's the part people don't talk about. Sometimes what you give your children costs you something to learn. And that's the sacrifice. That's the legacy work. That's how generational patterns change. Not through lectures, not through control, but through moments like this. Stand up in yourself and let me show you how. So here's what I want you to take with you. Pick your head up, not just physically, but in how you move through this world. Stop shrinking to be received. Stop lowering yourself to be accepted. Respect authority, but don't confuse it with ownership. Nobody is the boss of you. And if you're raising someone, understand this. You are not just telling them what to do. You're passing down what you had to fight to learn, what it cost you to understand, and what you had to become. So be intentional, because the way you show up becomes the way they learn to stand. And sometimes love sounds like, pick your damn head up. That's it for today's P.M.S. episode. I'm Stacy, because really, mindfulness shows up in the everyday, the small, simple things that end up being the most profound. Until next time, pour it, sip it, breathe it, live it.
It's practically mindful shit. Catch up. Pour it, sip it, breathe it, live it.